and we need to figure out what in the world to do with our children. So my older son just graduated from kindergarten, as I think your oldest did as well.
Yes.
Is that something that people are talking about, thinking about as well? I mean, public education is terrific, and I really hope that a lot of legislators who are coming into office in the fall are thinking about that and trying to improve our public education systems. But we still have the situation of summer, and it seems like all parents need to figure that out. Is that something that comes up when you're at these play dates and community events as well? The issues of childcare and dealing with, what do we do when kids are not in school and parents need to be working?
That's true. I mean, there are parents that, care about access to a good quality childcare and making it more affordable. I think that's really important because, it is hard for parents who are working and figuring out what to do with their kids during the summertime. I mean, even for myself, I have my kids in like a part-time camp so that I can work on my campaign, but those costs do add up. And that is something that comes up from time to time when I talk to voters. It does.
Are there other issues that you want to make sure that we talk about or things related to running for office?
I think it's important that we have equal representation in our state house. So in Indiana, we have, over 50% of our voting public consists of women, but yet only 20% of our state elected officials are women. And the way we close that gap is if we women step up and try and change that. That responsibility falls on us. So it's really important to have that equal representation. If we want government to be representative of us, then we, the people, have to step up and get involved. So I think that diversity it's not just the color of our skin, but it is also in economic diversity. It is in occupational diversity. So whether we are educators or farmers or social workers or engineers or parents or volunteers, that we have a more representative government. These things do matter. So as a mom, as a daughter of immigrants, as a woman, and as an engineer, that is why I decided to run for office.
And it looks like related to that point that you've been really involved in both training programs for running for office and also efforts both with STEM and with leadership programs to help mentor other women who are thinking about running for office. Can you talk about that sort of networking and how important that is?
I think it's very important as women for us to do that. I know that working in the field of engineering, that is also a male-dominated field. So I led a team of all men, and I understand, some of the barriers you face when you're there. And it's the same in politics as well. And when I decided to run for state representative, this is my first time running. I was told by people in my own party that, maybe I needed to run for school board instead. And I can take a step back and look, based on my own experiences in working in the engineering field, that there are other first-time candidates who are men that are running for state senate, for state representative, who were not told to run for school board. So I can take a step back and say, no, thank you. I will be running for state representative. And I have a great mentor as well who's run for office before, and that also helps. It's important that we don't allow people to put us in a box. I care about public education, but not just in my own school district, for the whole state of Indiana, which is why I decided to run for state representative. So it's so important that as women, we come together, that we do network, and that we have mentors so that nothing holds us back. And we should really just go for it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. This is really exciting. And, we have a lot of people that are not too far from the Indianapolis area. So hopefully some of them will hear this and want to join your massive door knocking operation, which is super impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's so great. And, living in Chicago, nobody ever comes and knocks on my door to talk to me about politics. So I'm a little jealous of these places where people get to talk to people running for office.
Yeah, me too. We do hear that. We do hear people say, no one's knocked on my door in 15 years. We're changing that.
Well, when you have a guy who's been in office for 32 years.
It's been a while.
Most of your life, Sophie.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that when we were talking about how when he started in 1986, I was 1 when he started in the legislature.
Yep.
I'm a grown woman with a child, and I was 1.
Yeah. And like you, I was a kindergartner, and my daughter just finished kindergarten. So that is a really long time.
All right. Well, if people would like to know a little bit more about your campaign or follow you on social media, how do they do that?
So please visit gillforindiana.com. My Twitter is @GillForIndiana, Facebook @GillForIndiana, Instagram @GillForIndiana. And please donate $19.86. 32 years is way too long.
Excellent.
I love that.
I love it. So thank you very much. And we'll be watching your campaign with a lot of interest.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to Two Broads Talking Politics. Our theme song is called Are You Listening? Off the album Elephant-Shaped Trees by the band Imunari, and we're using it with express permission of the band. Our logo and all original artwork is by Matthew Weflin and is done expressly for Two Broads Talking Politics. We can be found on our website at twobroadstalkingpolitics.com. You can reach us by email at twobroadstalkingpolitics@gmail.com, on Twitter @twobroadstalk, on Facebook and Instagram, and you can support us on patreon.com. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and anywhere podcasts are found. If you are interested in advertising on Two Broads Talking Politics, please email us at twobroadstalkingpolitics@gmail.com.